Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are here. Shanetta, I didn't get to test your mic. Can you please say something for me? Can you please say something for me, Shanetta Stewart? Can you please say something? I need you to. Do I get on your nerves?
Yes,
How you doing, Shanetta?
you getting on my nerves.
We are here. We're a day late and $1 short, but we are here. Yesterday we had some technical difficulties, so we had to postpone our episode. Typically we do it on Tuesdays at 7, and so we're a day late, but
I didn't feel like it.
so did we have technical difficulties,
No, I
or
didn't
did
feel
you
like
not
it.
feel like it?
I did not feel like it.
Well, see, that's the deal. You have a responsibility
I
to
do
be
not.
on
I'm
every
grown.
Tuesday.
I do what I want to do.
And how are you going to have a show, a podcast show?
I'm
but
grown.
You
I
don't,
do what I want to do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, then you know your
I'm
listeners
grown
don't,
and I do what I want to do.
your viewers don't know when they can
It
see
don't
you
matter.
if you're just going to be tired.
I'm grown and I do what I want to do.
All right, Love Wins by the Stewarts. I'm your host, B Level,
Thank you very much.
and today we have season 4, episode 6. You are in for a treat this evening. How's everybody evening going? How did everybody day go? Please, we are streaming live on Facebook, and I'm getting ready to stream live on my my Instagram once I go ahead and put it on airplane mode so no one can call me. And so we're streaming on Facebook and Instagram because we want you to be interactive with us, right? So we're going to go ahead and kick the show off. Today we have a great show planned. First of all, congratulations to all of the candidates who ran for a position yesterday. The elections were yesterday. Hopefully you guys got out and you voted. I know that we had LaTanya Austin Honorable. She won her judge race. Congratulations to her. Cara Connors, I think she won her judge race as well. Congratulations to her. The black guy who is running for governor, Chris, what is Chris' last name?
Jones.
Chris Jones won the Democratic parts.
Pine Bluff represent.
He's from Pine Bluff?
Pine Bluff represent.
He's from Pine Bluff, really?
Pine Bluff represent.
So he won. He will be running as a Democrat. He's going to be running against Sarah Huckabee. So congratulations to him. And who else? Do we need to congratulate anybody else, Shanetta?
No, I wasn't following the races.
Yeah. So congratulations to all of the candidates, especially all of our African-American candidates who ran and won their race. Yesterday, I do want to say a heartfelt our apologies and our goes out to the kids. There was a shooting at an elementary yesterday in Texas where 21 people were killed. And so our heart goes out to all of those families who were a part of that horrific deal that happened in Texas yesterday. It was at an elementary school. Kids lost their lives, and I'm just so sad about that. So our heart and our prayers goes out to those families who were part of that horrific deal yesterday in Texas. As I said, we are streaming live on Facebook. Shanetta, will you tell them if they want to see the podcast or hear the podcast, where do they go to do that?
Where you are right now on Facebook.
What about later? Because we don't leave this
Yeah,
live
I do
up,
delete
right?
this. Y'all been getting lucky because we've been leaving these Facebook Lives up, but typically we do not leave them up. And y'all got lucky today because I'm still not feeling good, and y'all could just see me with no makeup on.
You have no makeup on?
This is my natural face today that you guys see. I'm very natural.
You are just gorgeous even without makeup.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you just like want to have I'm paying you a compliment? You just like rolling your eyes at me and like, do you want to have
Let's
an
get on with the
attitude
show.
me today?
And then, so you guys can find us on any podcast app or podcast station, podcast channel, radio, online, all the apps, whatever, Google, Apple, any podcast station. You can find us at Love Wins by the Stewart. If you would like to be a guest on the show, you can send us an email at stewart.lovewins@gmail.com. Or if you have questions, topics, things you want to discuss, you can do the same. And or send us an inbox on our social media pages that we will give at a later time because you guys don't keep up with them right now anyway.
Where the video lives?
On YouTube.
Where?
Bro, this is not an interview.
Well, I'm just trying to give the people the information to see our stuff. So if you want the video part of it, it lives on YouTube at Brian Stewart Sr. I don't know what's going on with my wife today. She's
Tired.
She's tired and she's tripping. I think I had something else to say and I just lost my train of thought. I've hit all my bullet points. Big ups to our son. He graduated Saturday. Big ups to Jaden Stewart. Yeah, he graduated from Maumelle High School.
That's my guy.
Saturday.
So if y'all see my guy in his new Beamer,
And
as
his
he
new
say,
car, yeah.
make sure y'all tell him what's up and congratulations, Maumelle High School. Congratulations to all the graduates of Maumelle High School, class of 2022. It was amazing. Maumelle High School graduates had over $3 million in scholarship offers, and they had a very low graduating class. So with their graduating class, I do think it was under 100 graduates, maybe.
I don't know if
Maybe.
that's true. I think it was over that.
I don't think it was. Nevertheless, they had over $3 million in scholarships. So congratulations to Maumelle High School class of 2022. And because we're also a Bruin, congratulations to Pulaski Academy class of 2022 as well.
Right. And so if you're on our live, either on Instagram or Facebook, please give us a wave. Please give us a thumbs up so that we can shout you out. We want our podcast to be very interactive. So please wave at us. We've got people already waving at us so that we know that you guys, we're going to shout you out.
Hey, Bree.
What up, Bree? What up?
Bree is my soul sister, and we're just not finding this out last week. So Bree is my soul sister. So y'all tell Bree, hey. Sahaja says, can we talk about what is having a healthy sex life? Absolutely, we can.
Yes, we'll do that later.
Baby, we'll talk about sex all day, every day.
We'll
talk about that.
We will do
shortly.
that later.
Listen,
this episode, right?
We'll talk about it whenever they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it this episode.
So we're going to go to our first topic, and you stay on. Yes. How do you pronounce her name? Sahaja. Stay on. We're going to talk about that as our last topic, okay?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yes, make sure y'all see my baby. Y'all tell my baby congratulations. I am so proud of him. He is and I don't want to keep harping on this, but I am. First of all, he is my only boy. He is my only boy.
We have another boy.
He is my only boy. He is my baby boy. He is amazing. I love him to pieces. These girls be acting so funny with him, thinking he's my favorite or whatever. Nevertheless, just because he's a young African-American male that has entered to a different stage of his life of becoming a young man, I am so happy. I'm so happy, so proud. You guys barely get to see him because he's almost like invisible. He doesn't like to take pictures and all this stuff. Nevertheless, make sure y'all tell my baby congratulations.
Yeah, he's the only boy in the house. We do have another boy. LeBron is with us as well. He's the only boy that still lives with us. LeBron is in Texas. Yeah, got somebody, Bree, saying something else?
So Breeze is definitely my long lost sister. Yes, we are sisters in real life. Like, I don't even know. People got listen, and they better come with it if there's any problem. Listen, Bree did a post yesterday and said, Bree made a status yesterday to say, when y'all talk about me, how do y'all start the conversation off? So I commented on it, and I was like, they were like, girl. That's how normally women start things off, and they're going to say something about another woman. Girl, let me tell you. So that's why I don't have friends, because I don't want to be talking about people. Anyway.
All right, so topic number one today, we got to help this married couple out, okay? They inboxed this question to me last week, and we wasn't able to get to it, so we're gonna talk about it today, all right? And it's really, really deep, and I think you guys can help them. So this married couple has been.
I'm trying to cover my ears, y'all. If y'all see my ears, I got this headband on. It's kind of making my ears look pointy, like a little elf. So I'm trying to cover my ear. Trying to cover my ears. Okay. Okay, go ahead. I'm just.
All right, we're trying to help this married couple out. They've been married for 6 years, right? They have the wife has a son, right? The son was charged with rape a long time ago. The son did 4 years in jail, right? And so the son is at the end of his sentence, and he's trying to parole. He needs a place to parole. The mom, that's her birth.
The halfway house?
No. It's the state. The birth mom wants him to parole to their house. All right. The husband, who's not his biological father,
Bro, he is,
doesn't want him to parole to the house because when you have a sex offender that paroles to your house, they have to let all your neighbors know that you have a what's
I'm laughing at Bree because she's like, you ain't gonna let me live.
Bree, stop it. All right.
He is not like. First of all, he needs to be very honored that I'm on social media looking the way I'm looking because I typically do not. So he needs to be very honored and
yeah. Okay.
grateful.
So as I told you, let me go back over from the top. Married couple, been married 6 years. The lady has a birth son that was charged with rape. He went to jail. He did 4 years in the penitentiary. He is trying to parole out to their home together. Right. The dad is saying no. He can't come here. One of the reasons why, and this is not his biological son, but one of the reasons why the dad is saying no, because when a sex offender paroles out to somebody's home, they have to let all of your neighbors know that there's a sex offender living at this particular address. And so the husband doesn't want all of the bad vibe and the bad stigmatism that comes with somebody who's convicted of rape living at the house. So
do they
have
have other children in the household?
Yes, they have 2 other children at the house.
Are they females or males?
I didn't ask that. I guess I could text that, but I didn't ask. They do have 2 other children that's living home. This will be. He is the oldest. The guy the boy that was charged with rape is the oldest, and he needs a place to parole. Obviously, without him having a place to parole, it's going to be very difficult for him to get out.
Oh, but he's gonna have to stay in there.
So. The mom and the dad is beefing because the dad is like, he made that choice. We raised him. He made that choice. He can't parole back to the house because all of their neighbors will know that their son, that they have a sex offender living in the home. And so the couple, in fact, the lady is the one who inboxed and said, ask this questions to your Facebookers to see what should they do. And so Bree is already coming in. So
yes, Bree, that's correct. It is the lady's son, not the husband.
Yes, Bree, it is the lady's son.
And Bree's also asking, how old is he?
That's a good question. I'm going to ask that right now. Let me inbox that. I think she said he was like 24. 24.
Baby, he don't need to be at home no way.
24.
It's time for him to be at somebody else's house anyway.
And so look, he's 24, Bree. He's already done 4 years. And so he needs a place to parole. And so, of course, the mom is like, he's my child. I'm never going to tell my child no. And so he can come there. But the father's like, no.
She's an enabler.
That's what's going on. She's saying that, how am I going to not help my child if I don't let him come out?
There are so many ways to help him. Yeah, there are so many ways to help your child outside of letting them come into your home. Listen, let me just say this. I tell my children all the time, you get one get out of jail free card, right?
Right.
Which means I will come get you freelancely one time. You get one get out of jail free card. Does not mean I want you to cash that card in, but you do get one get out of jail free card where I'm going to come get you, right?
Right.
That also depends on the crime. There are 2 things that I will not come get you for. There are 2 things I'm not just going to not fight it for, and that is sexual assault.
Anything of a sexual nature.
And murder that it was not in self-defense. Those 2 things, you're going to have to ride that ish out. If you are in jail and or prison for anything sexually assault, I don't care if it's sexual assault on a minor. I don't care if it's sexual assault on the same sex, a different sex. I'm not going to do it. I'm not paying for no attorney. I'm not coming to court to sit beside you, hold your hand. You won't look over your shoulder, see me for support. I just cannot. Someone that does it there is a different type of mind frame to someone that sexually assaults someone.
Okay.
And so understand this. I think most times when we say sexual assault, we automatically go to rape.
Yeah.
We automatically go to a vicious rape. Do understand that crimes of sexual assault isn't always a vicious rape. Crime of sexual assault can start off with, childhood molestation.
Right.
It can start off, it could be grooming someone.
Sleeping with an underage
underage minor that, didn't tell you their age or something of the sort. So let's be, and let me say this too, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm just a hard, difficult person. But, I do believe in second chances too. So let me say that. I believe in second chances, but those two things, and this is my opinion. This is just how I feel, my opinion, as a mother of sons. Not as just a mother of sons, and as a mother of sons who feel like we're raising our sons properly, and then also as a mother that has daughters, and also being a daughter of someone that was a victim of childhood molestation. I just cannot vibe with that. I can't. There is a way for the woman as a mother to help her child besides letting him parole out to her home. So the father, the stepfather, bonus father, whomever, is absolutely accurate, because every time I would not trust him in my home, especially if there are other girls in the home. We tend to think and say, well, he won't do anything to his sisters, or he won't do anything to his stepsisters. How you know?
Right.
You don't know that. And so I want to be able to be comfortable under my roof to go to sleep. And if I can't go to sleep peacefully in my home,
So just to answer, everybody's asking, there are other children in the house. He is not the only. There's two other siblings in the house. All right, one is a boy and one of them's a girl. Okay,
so
he's the oldest.
Bree asked how old is he. We kind of talked about that.
24.
And Bree also asked, are there other kids in the home? Ooh, that made it big. Let's see. Ashia says, I wouldn't feel comfortable with him being there. I wouldn't feel, hey girl, so didn't speak, hey girl. I wouldn't feel comfortable with him being there around my other children, even if he were my child. CJ says, if there are children at home, I don't think he can compel her that dress anyway. That's facts.
Well, I think CJ, because they're his siblings, they will let him parole.
No, that's the law.
Huh?
That's the law.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. CJ.
Let's see. And then let me go up. I'm sorry. Okay. So then Bree says, how does she even know that he's been fully rehabilitated? What's his plan when getting out? And Bree also says she's agreeing. So in what CJ says, so as a sexual offender, you cannot be within so many feet of a school. You cannot be within so many feet of a church. I mean, just anywhere involving children. You absolutely 100% cannot be in the home with other children. You cannot.
Does that have anything to do with the level of sex offense? Like there are level 3s, there's level 2. I think it has a lot to do with what level you're convicted of.
I think the level of sex offenders has to do with the crime that was committed,
right? But
the time that you have to register as a sex offender.
Right.
I think all sex offenders just cannot be around minor children. There isn't the levels just determines other things. But
if there's an attorney on the line, can you please chime in and answer that question? If there's an attorney, we want to know that if you, no matter what level sex offender you are, CJ is saying that you cannot absolutely parole to a house where there's children, even if those children are your siblings. If there's an attorney, if somebody knows the law, the answer to that, please chime in so that we could get the answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, so that's as I said, that's my opinion. My opinion is just that you cannot, will not, won't come to my home. I think as a parent, there's a way to assist your children in not having them inside the home. And one thing that Bree asked that I agree with is, how do you know that he's fully rehabilitated? While I do believe in second chances, I do also. There is no way for us to be able to determine if they've been fully rehabilitated outside of them just getting out in the free world and being out for a while and not being convicted or, trying to get a job. No one knows that until that happens. However, I wouldn't want my other children to be a victim of warfare. So I wouldn't want them to be placed in a situation where they feel unsafe, because mind you, depending on how long he's been locked up, they probably don't, that's their brother, I guess, per se, or it could be other bonus children in the home, but how much do they know about him where he's been locked up all this time to feel comfortable with being around him, especially those that are girls? So I'm against it.
Well, it's causing a big rift between the married couple, because the wife is throwing up in the husband's face. The reason why you're saying no is because it's not your child. So it's not starting to cause a bridge and a gap and an argument in between a husband and wife, because the wife is throwing up to the husband. If it was your child, no matter what they were convicted of, you would let that person come and stay.
The devil is a liar.
So it's starting to be more than just, okay, can you come? It's starting to be problems with the married couple, because his wife is using that as, as a bullet to argue with the husband, because the husband is saying, husband agrees with you, Shanetta. The husband is saying no. And so it's starting to be a bridge between them. Hey, Dovey, what's going on, Dovey?
Hi.
Dovey Burrows is on.
So here's another part to that. So those that are, I hope that there are some people here. So those that are married those that are looking to be married, that share children with those outside of their current spouse or current fiance. When you choose to exchange vows to that person, or you have exchanged vows with that person, you're not considering them as just a spouse and or a mate. You're also considering them as a parent. And so at that point, you have to be able to know, love, and understand that whatever I do as a plus for your children, it's going to be in fairness with my own biological children. So that's where the problem lies. A lot of times people just marry, though, especially when you have children that are not in the home, that are not shared per se. So if they're bonus children, I don't like the stepchildren thing. So if they're bonus children, if they're a bonus children, that's where there's an issue and a problem and a divide, because you're looking to marry someone, or you're married to someone that you were looking for as a potential mate and a potential husband or a wife, and not necessarily a mother and or father to your children. So it's a rift, and it's an issue, because that's a lot of people problem. As I said, you just marry someone for the potential of that reason, and not feeling, because I'm never going to marry someone that I don't think is going to treat my children fairly. I'm just not. And so to have the opinion as the wife has this opinion of, the reason why you're taking this approach and the reason why you're saying that is because this is not your biological son, is a little shysty per se, because this is your husband. Like, this is not somebody that you're dating. This is not somebody that, you're just doing a yum bouncy bounce with. This is somebody that you've exchanged vows with, that you vowed to be with forever, whatever your vow says. And so when there is an argument for something that doesn't go your way in relation to your child, now you're second guessing, if it was yours, would you do the same thing? I think that's just retarded.
Let me restate our question for the people who are just logging on. We got Dovey Burrows just logging on. I just really got on IG. So we've got a married couple that's been married for 6 years. The wife has a son that's not the husband's, right? He's been locked up for rape. All right. It's time for him parole.
Don't say that word. It's like sexual assault.
Sexual assault. Okay.
Standards.
He's been locked up for sexual assault. He's done 4 years. He's trying to get out on parole. He wants to parole to the husband and wife house. The mom is welcoming him to come. The father is saying no, because when you parole a sex offender to your house, you have to let all your neighbors know of in so many feet that you have a registered sex offender living in this particular home. He's not the only sibling. He has 2 other children that are in the house. Somebody said earlier that you cannot parole to a house where you have other children, even if the other children are your siblings. And so we're asking for an attorney to come on and just to chime in to see if that law that somebody said, is that true, that you cannot parole to a house where they're siblings? So that's the question of the day. And the wife is using it against the husband. They're arguing back and forth because she feels like, if it was your child, you would help him out any way you possibly can and let him parole. You got some comments up there,
so
right?
Bree said she could possibly, what's wrong with her son? She seemed like she won't get her teeth out of his mouth. Sorry, so vulgar. She said she can definitely love and support him outside of him being in her home. Ms. Debbie says so many spouses feel like the wife, and that's a whole issue, because let me just say this. I'm never shying away from saying that my children are very sheltered. They're very sheltered, probably to a fault. But I'm also not the parent that's going to uphold them in their wrongness. You understand what I'm saying? So, and from an experience of, my husband and I, we have similar parenting, but we have different parenting, right? So he's a talker. He's Dr. Phil. So a lot of times I tell him, stop being Dr. Phil. He's not much of a disciplinarian. He wants to talk things through and figure out what's going on in their mind, and and let's light some candles and kumbaya and all those things, right? I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, maybe after I choke you to senses, we can sit down and talk about it. But my approach is a little bit different from his. However, never in a million years have I felt like, as his wife, he was treating my children indifferently. You know what I mean? Like, there was never a sense of, I'm not even comfortable with you disciplining my children or saying anything to him, because I feel like you're going to treat them differently because they're not biologically yours. That's really kind of the problem there. As Ms. W said, there are so many people, as I said, you marry someone or you go with the intention of marrying someone as a spouse and not as a father or a mother. And that's the issue, because you guys cannot agree on disciplinary actions. You just cannot agree. And so that can cause arguments that leads to divorce, because what I want to say and or do towards my biological children is not the same thing you may want to say or do to your biological children.
Right.
And so here we are at odds, fighting, arguing. It's a problem. It's the issue. And now here we are in divorce court because we just couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
So that's probably something that people need to consider as marrying someone that has other children. Consider who they are as a father, as a mother, vice, as I said, either or. Just consider who they are in that sense, rather than considering them just as a mate that you want to just feel like you want to spend forever with, because those things really matter. They really do.
Yeah. And how do you guys, Mrs. Dovey, and Bree, how do you guys, I don't know if Bree is married or have a relationship, how do you guys settle things like that? So obviously you've got the wife saying, yes, you're welcome. You've got the husband saying, no, no, no. So you're at a deadlock. It's 50-50. How do you settle those things? You know, in our house, Shanetta wins everything. So hell, if she says yes and I say no, hell, it's typically yes. You win all of the arguments around here. But if you're not like me, because I don't like to argue, how do you settle your arguments? Like, is it fair for the wife to throw that in the husband's face and say, you're just saying that because he's not your son? How unfair is that? Is that fair?
Well, let's be clear. The reason why I win most of the arguments is because I'm fair. I'm very fair. Here, let's, okay, because
you got to break it down.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Break it down.
Okay, so we started off in this marriage both being bonus parents, right? So we were both bonus parents until January of 2021, I think, when Brian decided to adopt my children. So they're like his. Those are his children. They're no longer.
All yes.
Yes. So
we don't have any bonus children anymore.
We do still. We still have bonus children because I haven't adopted your kids.
Okay.
So they're still considered his biological children are still my bonus kids. However, he has adopted mine in the sense of they're legally, those are his children, right?
Right.
So our kids in our home, they have difference of feelings. But let's be clear, the discipline that he would give to my children, it's going to be so very different than any type of disciplinary form that I would give to his biological children because they're not at home, right? So prior to there being this whole adoption thing, he was still disciplining them. And it's because of this. Here's what I had to tell him a long time ago. A long time ago, after we became husband and wife, he would call me like, hey,
Madison did this.
Jaden in here jumping in the bed. Madison in here, she done broke the vase. Or so he would just kind of call me and tell me things. And so then I would have to kind of either deal with them immediately or once I got home from work or something, it was me deal with them because those are my biological children. So I finally said, listen, Linda. You cannot, and I said to them too as the same thing, he cannot just be beneficial for you by buying you shoes, buying you clothes, paying the bills. He's the fun dad on the weekend, blah, blah, blah. He cannot be just those things, but he cannot be a punishment to you. He cannot put you on punishment. He can't discipline you. So as the opposing parent, you have to let your mate and your children know that it's okay for you to get a discipline from your spouse that's in the house with you. Because again, you can't just be the fun dad. You can't be the fun dad and you can't be the fun mom. If I am doing everything for you that's beneficial and that's suiting for you, but the first time I say something to you in a negative connotation that you don't like, it's a problem. Okay, I don't want to do nothing else, nothing fun. You don't get anything fun because you have to take the good with the bad. You can't always get the good and I get the bad, and everything I do for you is good. But when something bad comes along, it's a problem and or issue. That's where the lines are crossed and the lines are drawn. And so even to I'm saying not in our household, but I've seen people say, listen, you're going to get that ish under control or I'm out. I'm out because you cannot. And that's probably where this married couple is. That's just kind of where they are. Like, yes, it's my son and I'm a mother and he done something wrong, but I want him to come here. But the husband is like, well, wait, no. What about me? What does my opinion not matter?
So that brings me to another point in question. Is it all right for a step parent, okay, if they are not the biological father, the biological mother, is it all right for a step parent to discipline the child? For an example, if I see some people are commenting in, if Shanetta had, obviously when I married her, she had children that were not mine. Do you guys agree with a step parent? They're married to the mom, discipline, and we're saying, corporal punishment, which is spanking, putting them on punishment. Discipline can come in a whole bunch of different factions and ways. Are you guys open or down with letting a step parent discipline the children in the home? I want to know that.
Okay, so Marissa says I don't hear fair. I don't either. Marissa is so sad. Marissa also says the only way a man can discipline mine is if he has been around since they were small. Other than that, call me because I don't do disrespectful kids.
Okay.
W says it's God, your spouse, your children. In my house, if I disagree with my husband about our children, I only discuss with him, not my children, not anyone else. At the end of the day, our responsibilities are to provide, protect, in all caps, make sure our home and marriage is safe at all costs. I don't want nothing that I can't train. Me neither, baby. No. And then Miss W also says when you marry, you take on all.
So, Miss Dovey, if Danny was not your children's father, would you allow Mr. Burrows to discipline your children? That's what I'm asking. Chime in, Melissa. Is it Marissa? She's
Marissa,
already said yes. No. I don't know if Ashia is on here. Ashia, chime in. If this is not the biological father, would you let him or her discipline a child that's not biologically theirs? If they're a couple, they're married, they live together, but do you feel, are you cool with letting a step parent discipline the child?
Well, first of all, I think there's a level of uncomfort. So being in the situation,
and I was going to explain the situation is the reason why I called you too, but go ahead and finish your.
Yeah, being in the situation, it's a level of uncomfortness because now let me just say this: it's more easier for men than it is women, and the reason why it's a little bit easier is because understand that as a step mom and the kid more than 80% of the time, 85% of the time, the husband's biological children are living in the house with their mom, their biological mom, right?
Yep.
So now here's the thing. Not only are you fighting against the children respecting you or the children being treated as and liking as yours, you're fighting against the kids and their crazy ass mama. So you fighting against the kids.
Why their mama got to be crazy?
Because their mama be crazy most times.
Most of the time? Okay.
You got to fight against the kids not liking you. You superseding and you overcompensating because you want them to really like you.
Right.
You want them to have a relationship with you. You want them to, respect you. So you're overcompensating because you want that to happen outside of it being an attraction to your mate. You also want to have a relationship with them.
Right.
So you're doing that with them and you're also doing that with the mother as well. That's difficult. See, that's not as difficult because, as I said, typically the husband's in the home with the other stepchildren. So it's not as hard. You know what I mean? Unless you have a man outside of the household. So if there is a father, a biological father that's actively in children's lives, they can be as guilty as women are putting their kids against the stepfather that's in the home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
When step parents are in the home, I've seen it happen. Biological parents just be clashing on some stuff like, you don't have to listen to them. They're not your real mama.
Right.
That's not your real daddy.
Right.
Oh, you better call me if she say something to you.
Right.
You better call me if he don't feed you. Y'all stop that. Stop that. That is just so retarded to me that you have so much hatred for the person that you were with or could have had, that instead of you just being woman and or a man enough to have an issue with that person because you got an issue, you now use the kids as pawn to make the kids have an issue. That's why y'all be wanting to get punched in the throat because y'all be playing too much.
Just so that we keep the new people that are coming on our live with two questions. The first question number one is a couple's been married for 6 years. The woman has a son that has went to prison for sexual assault. It's time for him to parole out. He wants to parole to the family house. The mother is saying yes. The father is saying no. The father is saying no because once you let a registered sex offender parole to your house, all of your neighbors, they have to let everybody know within so many feet of your house. And he doesn't want that to be known. Question number two is, are you okay with a stepfather or stepmom disciplining a child, even if he's not your biological child. They're in the home staying together. Are you okay with that? So please, when you answer these questions, say this is question number 1 or question number 2, so we can know.
Miss W says, yes, if I marry him, I trust him with my life and everything that belongs to me unless I am shown a reason not to. Marissa says, my husband has 4 kids. I don't see 3 of them. His 14-year-old just moved in with us. When he came, he did something I didn't like. I said what I needed to say to him. Then I told his father, because if he was my biological child, I would have drew blood. I would have blew blood from his mouth. But his father handled it, and now I can't fart without him smelling it from being under me.
So it went that way. So Marissa's saying you guys have gotten close since then. If I understand her saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one of the reasons, let's go back, because you were saying I was calling you. I think at some point in time when you first marry somebody, you have to earn that other partner's trust.
That's true.
You don't just come in whooping ass.
No, you doing that now.
So at the beginning, I wanted to earn your trust to show you how I handle children. So, because corporal punishment is very different.
And he don't handle them still.
Well, I choose to handle things other than whooping. I think there's other ways.
I'm not saying whooping him. Okay. He is not a disciplinarian at all. These kids run him. Everybody kids does.
Well, so the reason why she says that I'm Dr. Phil.
Everybody kids
our children are old enough. You know, you can whoop them, but in my where I think I want to talk to them and get down.
I do not.
You gotta let me finish, Shanetta. Are you gonna let me finish?
Talking to them leaves them in rehab. Talking to them, letting them be out here on some disrespectful stuff. Talking to them, let them out here just being on some some gangster shit. Talking to them makes them. Let me just say this: I don't mind talking.
Can I finish?
Let me just say that part. Okay. I don't mind. I want to get that disclaimer because I want y'all to think I be abusing my kids. I don't mind having conversations. But sometimes when that's no longer helping, and having conversations, let me just say, I'm doing 1 or 2 things. I don't deal with no disrespect for kids either. I'm either going to cut you off or cut you off, pretty much.
Okay, can I finish?
Go ahead, because you got to fix it, and I'm just saying.
One of the reasons why I talk to my children, because I want to put some knowledge on them to be able to respond in adversity when they're away from me. You can whip their ass, and after they finish whipping their ass, they ain't learned anything. I want to teach. I want to talk to them to get some knowledge in them, because at some point in time they're going to be away from us. So I want to give them some knowledge. I want to give them something that they can use when they're not around us. So yeah, anybody can whip their butt. Anybody can do that.
All that does is make them
let me finish. After you finish whipping their butt. After you finish whipping their butt,
no longer fearful.
They don't learn anything. If you sit down and you have a conversation with them why the decision they made was a wrong decision, you give them something that they can hold on when they're not away from you. When they're 19, when they're 20, when they're 21, you give them some knowledge. You got some questions here.
Yes, there is a certain amount of fear that children should have for their parents. I don't believe in making them so afraid of you that they're finicky, they're jumping, they don't want to confide in you. I don't believe in that. But there is a certain amount of fear that kids need to listen. If you tell any one of my kids, I'm about to call your mama, they already know it's about to be a situation. I don't care what the situation is, whether it's me disciplining them, whether it's them hurting my feelings because whatever their action was, whether it's us having a conversation about it, whether we having a meeting about it, whether I decide to choke slam them up against the wall. They are fearful of someone calling me, telling them something that they did that was indiscretionary. If you tell our kids, I'm about to call your daddy, they probably say, I'll call them.
But even in calling them, that doesn't stop them from doing whatever they're going to do.
It don't matter. What I'm telling you is that when they're out, and what I'm saying to your point is, when they're out in public, they're probably not going to be as prone to do the foolishness because they're afraid of the repercussions they're going to have to deal with me rather than dealing with you. It is a different response. If one of our kids got put up on the police and they had to decide which parent you want me to call, they're probably going to say call my daddy, because they know if my mama get here, I have to deal with her in a different type capacity. I don't want my children to be afraid of me, but I do want them to have a little fear of me, because I need them to understand that I'm not going to play with you on that type of time. That's the first thing. The second thing is not playing with you on type of time, as I said, would keep you out of rehab. It'll keep you out of jail. It'll keep you out of some foolishness, because I don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of my mama. I don't want to talk to my daddy.
Well, and like I said, that's even though they're fearful, that doesn't stop them from doing whatever.
I don't care what. It's going to be a part of it. It's going to be a part. So Dovey says, when you take a spell, when you take a spouse, you become one. It should be understood before you make the commitment and take those vows what you are committing to, forsaking all others. That step-parents, stepchildren, bonus children, and anyone that else that cause havoc. Marissa says, yes, we are now close. You were asking about her son, her bonus son. She says, my husband has never spanked any of his kids. Girl, never. She said, my husband's never spanked any of his kids, but they have never lived with him either. So that makes a difference. Marissa says, my grown kids are still afraid of me. So that's what I'm talking about. Miss W says, Shanetta, you and I are alike in how we discipline our children. Marissa says, not because I would hit them, but because they know better, and I'll be very disappointed because I taught them better. That's my whole point. Understand that when my mother passed away, I was about to turn 30 years old. Still in front of my mama at 30 years old. It had nothing to her me feeling like she abused me because I didn't feel abused. But still at the age of 30 years old, there are certain things I would not say. I was married and had children. There are certain things that I would not say and or do in the presence of my mother because of the respect I had for her. Had nothing to do with her feeling like she gonna pop me in my mouth. If I was having a conversation with her and it was a curse word in it, I would say, Mama, can I say it? I'm 30. I have children. I'm married. But that has everything to do with my respect. It had nothing to do with me feeling like she was going to whoop me or beat me. It was respect.
And so you were saying that you had that respect and that fear of your mom before she passed, right?
Yeah, our kids don't have that with you.
And all the shit you did in your life, you did. So that respect.
No, it's different because as I said, in that my sisters and I would still have family meetings with our mother.
Right.
If things went wrong with us, we would still know. My mother was like, listen, there was a line. What I'm telling you is that my prevention to my children is to keep your ass out of a situation. My prevention to my children is I don't want to have to check your ass into rehab. I don't want to have to get up and come get you out of jail. I don't want you to be out here in these streets embarrassing me. Don't act, whatever you do after I get done with my raising, I would hope that my raising for you has made you be an upstanding woman and an upstanding man. The worst thing you can do for me as my child is to go out and embarrass me. Right. That is the worst thing don't embarrass me because now I'm really embarrass your ass.
What's wrong with having balance? What's wrong with having a parent like yourself that you make them fear and a parent who wants to be Dr. Phil and have conversation? What's wrong with having a balance? Is there anything wrong, Dovey, who else on the Marissa? Is there anything wrong with having a balance, right? Is there anything wrong with having a balance?
Brian doesn't have a balance. He doesn't have
you're
a
the balance. You're the balance to me. I'm the balance to you. So that's what I'm asking. There is nothing wrong with having the balance.
Miss Debbie says, my dad never spanked me, but my mom did.
All right, Debbie, yep.
Marissa says, right. And then Miss Debbie says, did. She says, Marissa says, as far as a sex offender child, if I was his mother, I would get him his own place. He couldn't move in. That's my whole thing. I help you, baby, but you can't stay in. Kimberly says, yes, Netta, I think that balance is good to have. And then Debbie says, no, balance is good. I'm so not against balance. Let me just say this. I'm not against it. I think in our home we have
use it as I should.
No. Let me just say something. I have to tell Brian, punch him in his throat, like.
And she does say that
in real life. I have to tell him, like, you better punch that nigga's throat.
But Netta, I don't think that everything that you think is worth being punched in your throat.
I don't tell you that every time.
No,
it's when he's deserving to be punched in his damn throat. Like, punch him in his throat, make his teeth clap. You ain't finna.
Sometimes whoever you're talking about deserves the punching in the throat.
Most times.
But I'm not even going to say sometimes. Most times. I'm going to say sometimes. But sometimes I think Shanetta is over the top. I think you're too much. I think you don't want your children so afraid of a parent that they don't come to you when they're vulnerable. They don't come to you when they need an opinion.
They do.
Because they're so afraid. So I think a balance is...
That part's not true. That part not true.
And just like I feel like your part...
Our children in the home,
Lord.
Because you laugh, you're lying.
Well,
our children in the home...
finish my life.
Let me just say this. I'll be very honest about this. My oldest daughter is just what Brian described.
What's that?
She's probably going to go to him. She's not going to say anything to me. She's probably going to go to him. However, if I ask her something, she'll say. But understand that I was a young mother in having my oldest child. So let's be very clear. She's 23. I'm 41. I had her at 18.
What up, Dee?
So I had her at 18, but this is my first experience.
I ain't speaking to her.
Okay, whatever. This is my first experience as a mother. Shit. So as bad as that sound, I had to learn to be a mother with my first daughter. So the fear of God is definitely in her. Let's be very clear. Because the fear of God is definitely in her, she's 23, senior in college, no children, never been pregnant, about to graduate college, practically an A average student. She gonna work her tail off.
And
she's gonna go to school. All of those things are not a multitude of the balance of me and dude.
You don't know that. That is
It
not.
is. Listen, since her coming out of my presently nice, pretty area,
that's not
she
fair.
has been an amazing daughter, an amazing child. Let's be clear. It hasn't been verbalized to me that, Mama, I feel like in comparison to my siblings, I've probably had a little bit difficult than what they've had. So because she's, and here's what I've had to tell her. In your siblings, first of all, her and my son are 5 years apart. So, and then the other two behind them are like 2 years apart. So in becoming a mother, later on, my patience are a little bit better. I have a little bit more patience. I've learned, don't say that. So it's a learning thing. So now I've mastered this mothering thing. However, she don't look at it that way. She just like, oh, when I was 12, had I did that at 12, I would have got cussed out. Listen, I'm a little different.
We're getting way off the subject.
I'm a little laid back. I'm not that dude. I'm not that girl. So listen, don't y'all be on here letting Brian think y'all be abusing us. Let me just say this. Some of our kids do need to be punched in the throat, and he don't punch them in the throat.
Read our comments, Linda.
Yeah.
Here,
you don't want to get on that.
W.
Like, move.
Right there. Read our comments.
Miss W says, she says, I promise you don't want Brian to punch your children in the throat, because if he ever does, he will hurt them. No, he won't, because he's soft. No, he won't, Miss W, I promise. And she tell Didi, Didi, get off of here. Can y'all get on my nerves with all that old foolishness?
I love you with my
I
heart.
ain't reading all that. They see that. I ain't reading all that. Yeah.
They can't see the comments, can
They
they?
can't see the comments.
Okay.
I'm not reading all that. But anyway, so I agree with Marissa. N.O., you cannot come to my home for the child that's in prison for rape. You cannot come to my home. There are ways to help you as a mother.
Right.
Then what's going to prevent you from coming to my home. And I'm going to make a statement that most people are afraid to make, that's being married. My husband comes first. My husband absolutely comes first.
Right.
There are so many people that are married are so afraid to make that statement. Y'all are so afraid to tell your children, your parents, your siblings. Y'all are so afraid to tell people what it's supposed to be. You're so afraid to say that, but there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, my mama told my sisters and I that, and if any one of my sisters are on here, my mama told us that. Probably, I think I was maybe 11, 12. And that just hurt our heart.
I bet she did too.
That hurt our heart. Like, we talked about it for a while. We were like, what you mean? This ain't even our daddy. Like, this. We just like, what you mean he come first? Girl, you better answer. My mama gave us that. It's in the Bible. This is stated to us that this is said in the Bible. Y'all are my blood and y'all are my children. However, my husband comes first. Stop being so afraid to let people know that. Y'all act like y'all scared to say that, like it's an abomination before God. Tell these people, like, listen. Son, listen. You come home. You go to the halfway house. I'm going to get you a little 1-bedroom apartment, 5,000 miles from a school, 5,000 miles from a church or playground.
So you could help him like that.
I'll help you, but you
can't live.
And I will have no problem telling him, not only in my decision and the decision of my husband, you cannot come to our home. You cannot come to our home. And he either gonna be okay with it or not. Baby, you think he gonna give you help him get in an apartment? No. Shoot, he just had to go wherever. He just had to just stay in there until his time. Or like I said, be rehabilitated, pray about it. I don't know, but he can come to our home. No.
Wow. Right.
No. So Miss Debbie said, I'm gonna say it again. God, husband, children. Y'all better learn
That's
that.
That's right, Miss Debbie. That's right.
Yeah, I don't think I've told my kids, but they know.
Have we discussed that in its entirety enough, Shanetta, to move on?
I believe so. Marissa says you can come visit, but you can't live. No, baby, you can't come. Listen here. You can't come stay.
So we're going to respond. Obviously, the lady is on listening live. I told that we were going to do a question today. You're telling her to not, cause a problem between her and her husband. For the son, you guys should help him get his own place. and that's a is it called a
If the husband
compromise?
wants her to do that, if that's an agreed upon, what was the alternative to him not coming to stay?
There
What did the
wasn't
husband offer?
it wasn't. He just said he couldn't come here, and I obviously, she didn't suggest that they should help him get his own place. She suggested that she wanted him to come there. He just said he couldn't come here. I would assume, I didn't talk to the husband, I would assume that the husband would probably take suggestions on an alternative to him coming to move to the house. Y'all buying him a studio apartment or somewhere that's obviously it's going to take some time for him to get a job when he get out. So, if you go get an apartment, you footing that bill. So that you've got a rent in an apartment, you've got light, water, gas. So you're creating a whole nother bill for yourself by getting him. Or are you saying we're going to get him apartment, pay, maybe 1 or 2 months of rent, give him an opportunity to get a job, and then he's on his own, right?
I'm saying I am going to do whatever me and my husband agree upon. I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause a rift and or issue in the home with my spouse, especially if I know he is not intentionally or maliciously attacking my child. Okay. So whatever we agree with is what we're going to come up on. That's how that works.
All right. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the next topic that somebody asked me earlier. I couldn't remember their name. Sahaja asked a question, and Dovey is on here, and some people that are married in a relationship. How do you keep a healthy sex life? That was the question that was asked earlier in the day.
Do you mean like doing the yum yum bouncy bounce consistently? If that's what that means?
I guess she has to. What is her name? Sahaja? What is her name? What was the lady's name? Shanetta?
Sahaja. That was her name.
Sahaja. There's Shanetta is asking a qualifying question. Ask it again, Shanetta.
I'm asking, when you say healthy, does that mean just doing the yum yum bouncy bounce like regularly? Like, is that what healthy? What's a healthy intimate lifestyle? What is that like with somebody you're in a long-term relationship or married to? Because here's the thing, sometimes people be acting like it ain't gonna be there no more. It's gonna be there. You're married. It's gonna be there. Like, sometimes you want to do it all the time, and sometimes you don't. But it's going to be there. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't just gonna get up and just leave you unless you ain't doing it right. Now, if you ain't doing it right, it might get up and leave you. But
so, what are you saying? You shouldn't stress over it. You shouldn't worry about it.
No.
It's because it's gonna be there. You shouldn't worry
about it. I'm not saying that either.
You shouldn't try to make it healthy. I guess what she's asking. I mean, she didn't clarify. All she said was, "How do you keep a healthy sex life?"
Ms. Dovey said, "Just do it every day."
Go ahead, Dovey. Miss Dovey. Go
every
ahead.
Day. Listen, like, I'm trying to make a determination as to what does that look like and or mean, because it's different strokes for different folks.
Right,
I honestly think and or believe there are people that want to venture out and try and do different things. There are people that want to just
I get that.
be intimate with their spouse every day.
Right.
Because listen to this, sometimes people think that being consistent with your spouse regularly prevents them from any type of infidelity. That's not the case.
Yeah, I don't think she said that.
You could be around here flipping off ceiling fans and doing all different things. And so what's healthy to you may not be healthy to your mate. Another part of this is that y'all have to do is have conversations, talk about it. Marissa says, a healthy sex life, somebody explain. That's what I'm saying. So a healthy sex life can mean differently for me
than that person.
My husband. It can mean it's different for different strokes for different folks. But the problem is that y'all don't communicate and talk about it. Like,
connection.
Talk about what that looks like. Talk about what that is. Talk about what your turn-ons are. Talk about what your turn-offs are. Listen, DJ, what's his name? He's on the show with Charlamagne. DJ Envy.
Envy, yeah.
DJ Envy's wife, about 3 weeks ago, said that she had been faking
orgasms
for 10 years.
Right.
For 10 years.
Right.
How do you 10 years just be like...
Well, what she said is that when they for the first 10 years,
yeah, baby, I don't know.
when they had sexual intercourse, he watched so much porn that he thought that's going fast and rough was the way that every woman liked it. And she said that she didn't like that. Now he would perform oral on her and she would have an orgasm, but through sexual relations, through intercourse, and I guess oral is a form of intercourse, but through doing it, she never had an orgasm for the first 10 years.
Do you know how many women out here that has not There are so many
lot of 'em
women.
that
There
are
are
faking orgasms.
so many women that has not ever had. First of all, there are like 4 or 5 different types of orgasms. Let's just get that out the way. There are 4 or 5 different types. But there are so many women that have not just had like a G-spot one. They have not had that experience. And baby, let me just tell y'all something, because y'all be preventing it. Y'all be thinking some other stuff about to happen when in fact it ain't that other stuff about to happen. It's like you really about to have the best experience of your life.
Right.
Y'all better start exploring yourself. Have conversations. First of all, be realistic with yourself.
Right.
And be realistic with your mate. So talk about, again, because someone said the other day, I think I was like on Twitter or something. Someone says, not on Twitter. I was watching the Madea Homecoming movie, and she was talking about the young lady getting married, and she told her in the movie that make sure that you understand when you get married, you're going to be marrying multiple people. And she was like, what? No, I'm marrying one person. No, you're marrying multiple people, because understand the person that I married today is not the same person 10 years later.
Facts,
so what
facts.
attracted him to me 10 years ago has changed dramatically.
Right.
But the only way you're going to know that is if you have conversations. If you are in a consistent relationship and or marriage, why do you talk about everything else? Why shy away from an important piece? Because understand that intercourse is a very important piece of a relationship.
Right. Right. And I think another thing is another part of starting healthy sex life is a connection. And a connection comes with, like Shanetta says, communication. I think you've got people who are going crazy on this topic here.
Yeah, Marissa says, baby, no. Baby, she didn't teach him. That's what it was, Marissa. Now, she won't talk about it. It ain't Envy's fault. She didn't take accountability for her own stuff. Ms. W says communication is key. You have to be able to express what your needs are and what his are. Sometimes it could be as simple as taking a drive. Marissa... Okay, Marissa with the emojis. Y'all see the emojis on there. But listen, Sahaja, if you're on here, this is going to be circumvented and it's going to be personalized to your mate. You have to have this conversation with your mate, because understand, in the back of your mind, consistency may be healthy for you.
And honest communication too. Because
Yes.
sometimes when you ask a woman, what do you like? When you ask a man, what do you like? You don't really say what you really like for fear that they may think some type of way. So it has to be honest
Y'all are fools,
communication. If you like to be choked, say, I want to be choked. You have to be honest about it. You know, here's the deal about my
Just
wife
don't be
and I.
pulling my hair too much.
There
'cause
is
it ain't
nothing.
mine.
There is nothing that I cannot share with this
It's
woman.
not mine.
There is nothing that I cannot talk. My wife is not very judgmental. There is nothing that I can't talk to this woman. If you're marrying somebody that you have to hide conversation and you can't say, you're marrying the wrong person. You should be dating somebody or marrying somebody that you can share everything. There's not anything that I couldn't share with my wife. What are you laughing at?
Marissa said I ain't married nobody that didn't have good sex before marriage anyway. Baby, even though that's fornication, you better fornicate. I'm not telling y'all to sin.
So Marissa, you have to test drive that car before you purchase it.
Oh,
That's
Lord,
what
let me
Marissa's
tell you
saying.
something.
She has to test drive it. Look at
Miss Dovey said not choke.
Yeah,
listen, let me say,
Miss
choke.
Dovey,
Listen, you
choke.
choke. You better do it, and you
Miss
better. If
Dovey,
you don't know how to do it, I'm gonna teach you how to do it, because I don't want to go to work with bruises on my neck. Have to wear turtlenecks in
Miss
the
Dovey,
summertime.
I'm telling you, you never know what people like until you ask the question and you accept an honest answer. You have to be open to just really, really being honest. So if you're asking a question about what's a healthy sex life between you and your partner, you have to give them the room to be 100% honest with you, and you have to not be judgmental, and you have to be able to accept. The other person have to be willing to put themselves out there and be honest. If you're going to have an enjoyable sex life, you have to be honest about what makes you happy. There's nothing. I'll say this again. You're so funny. You're making me laugh. There's nothing that I can't share with this woman. I mean, I can literally, she is absolutely my best friend. Our children ask us, why do we talk on the phone so much? Every morning, I talk to her on the way to work. Typically, if she goes to lunch, I talk to her on her lunch. On the way home, we talk, and then we're in the house together. So our kids don't understand why we have to talk. Why are you laughing so much?
Marissa, okay, first of all, you do understand that you about to be on this panel before the season over with. But Marissa said, wet? Hell no. She said, he can't even be my boyfriend with wet sex. Listen, okay, let me just say this. I will tell you this.
Miss Dovey, stay around. We got something for you. Do not leave this live.
This is why there has to be a connection, because some people can attest to this. Like, listen, sometimes there have been someone who have not been your favorite as it relates to intimacy, right? Mm-hmm. But because you like them so much, or because you love them so much, you be like,
it ain't that bad.
But then when you stop liking them, you be like,
that whack ass. He's so whack.
What the hell
was I thinking?
Am I just getting up with a wet ass in real life? Like, so emotions, connections, and feelings can sometimes a little bit change the opposing party. Here's another thing too, as a woman. Let me just say this. Women, we have so many things, so many things that can be pleasurable to us, is that you got to learn yourself and know your own body. So even if you and your mate aren't communicating physically intimately in the bedroom, you got to know how to got to know how to please yourself. And so when I say I'm not saying by yourself, I'm saying with your mate. You got to learn how to position yourself in a manner. You have to learn how to communicate that. Like, okay,
that's not just a female thing.
Yeah, like move over here. Don't stay right there. You know what I mean? Like there's things that can allow you to have very pleasurable moments. So that's why when Envy's wife kind of made the little statement that she made, I do get like that sometimes pornographic things make men feel like that's a fantasy and they want you to be that thing, not knowing that, listen, baby, this is just for filming purposes. Right. I'm not going to put 2 bottles of baby oil on me so I can be shimmering like I'm Keisha on Belly because you've seen it on world's biggest butts on porn. But again, that's a conversation. That's a thing. That's a conversation. Because what turns a man on with me can be different than what does that with my husband. So understand, chill. Just chill.
What is Marissa saying?
Marissa's, okay, that's like wanting to have the most popular girl in the world, then you get her in her coochie.
Lord. I'm going to really tell y'all to pray for
Marissa. I'm about to block you.
Pray for Marissa. Are you married?
Yes,
Answer
she is.
Is she?
But I'm about to block you.
Marissa. Is Marissa married?
Yes.
Oh, Lord. Pray for her and pray for her husband.
Wait a minute.
Yes, Marissa, pray for her husband. That is crazy. All right, so if you're just logging on, the question that we're on now, we've moved on to our third question of tonight. It is, how do you have a healthy sex life? How one of our listeners or our viewers, I can't remember her name, up in our feed, asked, what do you do to have a healthy sex life?
Okay, that just sent me there because, first of all, it took me back to this video that I saw. But that just really just kind of, I want you to listen, Marissa. I want you to know, learn, and understand that just took me to a totally different place. So yeah, that was different. But anyway, so Sahadra, that's the tip. That's the point, is to have a conversation with your mate. And here's the thing, even don't let it be so formal. Let it be a part of your foreplay. Like, let it be a part of your because again, as I said, whereas I gave the time frame of 10 years ago to 10 years now, it could be that for months. It could be the woman that I was or the man that I was a month ago, and the pleasure that I liked a month ago, I don't like that anymore. Yeah. So that's why there needs to be some consistent conversation as to, and again, if you're uncomfortable, first of all, you should be uncomfortable having this conversation with your mate. But if you're uncomfortable, allow that to be a part of your foreplay. So while you're away from each other through the day, say, hey, I want to do this to you. And let them say, yeah, no, I don't like that. Or let them say, oh, yeah, see, that's what I've been, that's what I've been wanting you to do. Yeah. Or, so use that as a sense of responding properly to your mate.
I did, and you're right. That is, if you talk about it during the day, when you get to that crib, oh my God, I can tell you, oh my God, just that is what is going on with you and Marissa?
I'm about to block her. I promise, I'm about to block her. Oh Lord, okay.
Read Marissa's comment from up there.
She says, but yeah, me and my husband have sex outside in the car on top of the car. Anywhere. Let's see. She says, yeah. See, and Miss W said on the drive. Miss W said on the drive, to Little Rock, anywhere. Said, go back up. You going down? Go down. And Marissa, she says, yeah, beloved, I'm married and 9 years older than him, baby. Let me tell you something.
Go ahead on, Marissa.
That is it right there. But yes, I don't know. I really don't know. Different strokes for different folks. Let me just say that there is different strokes for different folks, and be open to criticism. That's another thing too. We don't like to be criticized. We're so offended by someone telling us something, but understand it's coming from a place of, I love you and I want this to be you and I want us to be satisfactory for each other. I want us to do, supersede each other's feelings and emotions and pleasures and all those things. So have conversations. Stop thinking that, because, like I said, 2 years ago, his favorite position was hitting you from the back and pulling your hair and choking you till you almost passed out. When in fact, he finds a little bit more pleasure a month from now because he'd rather do missionary. So stop assuming that.
And ask.
Yes.
And also be, like you said, be honest. If you're doing something that your mate don't like, be open to accepting when he or she say, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. It's all about honesty, and it's all about communication. It's all about connection. You don't get a connection without talking about it. As Shanetta said, you grow every day. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that you like yesterday, you might not like tomorrow. And so you have to be open to accepting honest conversation about what you like. And that's the only way that you can 100% get the truth, is get it from the person who you're doing it with. I mean, you can guess and guess.
A whole lot of foreplay right before we get it started. What do you like? Me on top, you on the bottom. What do you like? Somebody that'll make you say my, oh my, all night long.
The Brat is in that, isn't she? The Brat.
Tell me.
Drew Hill. All right. Okay. So, is that a wrap?
Oh, that's it. We're done.
So, I asked Miss W to stay on because we have 4 more episodes before we end our season. We normally end our episode with a reunion, which basically a panel, and Shanetta's going to talk about that. But also, we've got 1 more episode, and then we do this cool thing where we have a ladies' night.
We do. And
so we have 3 other ladies that come on and they talk with Shanetta. We've done it both ways. I guess I guess we'll do it where they talk with Shanetta, and we'll call that ladies' night. And so we need 3 ladies. All right. And then the next following week we have a fellas night with me. 3 other homies, 3 other guys come on, and we have perspective conversation about things that guys talk about. Vice versa, when Shanetta, the ladies come, they have 3 ladies that come, and they have conversation and perspective about what women talk about, beauty shop things, right? And so have you gotten your 3 girls or ladies that you're going to have?
I have not. One of them's definitely gonna be Marissa. If Marissa's not on the ladies' night, I'm gonna block her in real life.
Marissa, Shanetta is saying that she needs you on the ladies' night.
Always, Miss Dovey has a very open invitation.
And I don't know if Miss Dovey wants to be the other lady, but
we're gonna do 4.
Well, 3 with you. We only have 3. We only have 4 because of mics. So it's 3 ladies. I guess send if you would like to be, and it's not next week because are we going to do that next week? You look down. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to do that next week.
Okay, so not next week, but send your reasons why you want to be on with Shanetta, ladies' night, and homies, fellas, if you want to be on with me. I kick Shanetta off the podcast. We talk about stuff that dudes like talk about, right? We get into it. Go back, look at season 3, look at season 2, look at season 1. We've done it every season. It's a really good, cool way to have some great conversation with the same sex, and you mostly talk about things that women talk about. So inbox Shanetta if you want to be one of the ladies that come and participate with her on ladies' night. It's not going to be next week, but we are now accepting applications. We're now accepting people that want to be on. It's going to be the week after that. If you want to come on, it's going to be on a Tuesday, considering that Shanetta feels good that Tuesday. Sometimes she doesn't feel good, but if it's on a Tuesday night, It starts around at 7 o'clock, and I'm assuming that it's at least going to be a couple of hours because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And, we're ending in an hour and so, but this one will be longer than an hour so that you guys, the four of y'all, can have an opportunity to talk your talk about whatever you want to talk about, right? And then the next following week, it's hanging with the homies with B-Level. If you have, typically fellas don't really audition to be on there. Fellas don't never want to get on. So if you got a husband, if you got a boyfriend that you want him to be on with me, send that to me. Inbox me, Brian Stewart, Brian with the Y. Ladies, you guys are more open. Shanetta always have way more candidates than I have because fellas don't like getting on here and telling their business. It's these messy ass women. They love getting on here.
Don't do that.
Okay. Well, it's these women that love.
Baby, some of these men out here just as messy these women that I can start naming them.
That part. You're right. All right. Let me go back and say that because you're right about that. It be these women. It be these women that love to talk. So if you're not scared, if you're not ashamed to talk, inbox Shanetta Stewart. You've got 2 weeks to do it. You've got 2 weeks to do it. Somebody said, hey, Shanetta.
Hey.
You've got 2 weeks to do it. Inbox Shanetta Stewart. If you want to be a sponsor. Oh, and then, Shanetta, we got to figure out after we do our hanging ladies night and hanging with the fellas, we have the reunion. Typically, it's at the club where we have a live audience.
That's
I think Shanetta
dope.
wants
You
to
guys
do
enjoy
that again.
We are doing that.
And so that's going to be episode 10. And then we're going to decide if we're going to take a break like we normally do, or if we're going to go straight into season 5. Right?
And while we're on here, so I know that Miss Debbie has not officially started posting about this or advertising this. However, listen, y'all know I am absolutely crazy about my hometown of Pine Bluff. I'm just from right down the street, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Somebody tell she that I need to talk to her. Who is that? Hood Rich. Who is Rich?
Hood Rich.
Anyway, so every year, Miss Debbie, how long have you guys been doing this? Every year.
This is just their second year.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Every year, Miss Debbie, Mr. and Mrs. Burrow, there are prominent public figures in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. They have this Summer Breeze Festival. It is amazing. They have about 60 or 70 vendors. Ms. Debbie, we're going to reach out to you too about the sponsorship. Nevertheless, but they have about 60 or 70 vendors. They have food trucks, and this is on their residence. Brian always says they have 300 acres.
They have 300 acres out there, I promise you. If you guys do not know what 300 acres is, the Burrows have 300 acres in Pine Bluff. They got all the land bought down there. I mean, so if you want to see a whole just plethora of land,
it is amazing.
Summer Breeze
for sure.
2022.
In real life, it really is about 20 acres. Seriously,
300 acres.
It
300
is huge,
acres.
and it is it's a very nice event. They have some of the best live entertainment there. They have local live entertainment. They've had the mayor to come through, the sheriff of Jefferson County. There are very prominent other figures outside of themselves that come. It is an amazing. It's practically all day. They have kind of things for the kids and like a separate area from the adults.
Bouncy for the kids.
After everything happens in the evening, from the live music to whatever performance, there's a huge fireworks show. So, and this is something that they do personally. This is not a Jefferson County Pine Bluff event. This is a personal event that's taken up on from Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Burrow, Danny and Dovey Burrow. So, when we get the flyer and stuff, it's July 16th. She just put on our thing. It's July 16th, Summer Breeze Festival 2022. They are currently accepting vendors and food trucks. If Ms. Dovey will share the contact information, I will pin it so you guys can reach out if you're interested in becoming a vendor. And let me just say this, y'all.
Put the ticket link in here,
I will.
Ms.
I'll
Dovey.
pin the ticket link, and then I'll also pin the number to contact them for vendors and food trucks. Let me say this. If you are a beginning business owner, it is huge exposure. It is a huge... Ms. Dovey, how many people did you guys have come through last year? It had to be...
A lot.
Close to 1,000,
we didn't
maybe 2?
get there until...
We did.
Because we were out of town. I'll tell you how important this was to Shanetta and I. And I told Miss Dovey this. We were 4 hours away.
I think
Where
so.
were we? Our daughter was playing in an AAU tournament 4 hours away. And I don't know if it was Dallas or wherever it was. We actually went to the basketball tournament on Friday Friday night. We played Saturday morning, and then we drove 4 hours from Dallas to come back to Pine Bluff to attend the Summer Breeze Festival.
It's amazing.
And then we got up at 5 o'clock that morning, and we drove 4 hours back to go back to see our daughter finish basketball. So we drove a total of 8 hours to come and support this wonderful event with wonderful people. We've talked a lot about Dovey Burrows, but I will tell you, Danny Burrows is very, very, very special. He is. I mean, so we ain't gonna let Miss Dovey get all the shine on this live.
Yeah.
Mr. Burrows is just as wonderful as his wife. Anybody that can put up with somebody vocal like Shanetta and Mrs. Dovey, I promise you, y'all are not it. It's us that are it.
She is who I'm gonna be when I grow up. Like, let me just tell you something.
She reminds me. I just look at her and I'm like, that's Shanetta when she gets older.
She's beautiful.
She's
gorgeous.
Jazzy.
Absolutely.
But Danny Burrows is a really good dude that's laid back. He's very reserved, kind of like me. And I'll tell you, it takes somebody with patience and reserve to deal with women like them. And so big ups to Mrs. Burrow, but I will say high five to my homie Danny.
So you guys see the context. So I'm going to pin this information, but the tickets will be on Eventbrite from 2 to 10 p.m. You can reach Miss Dovey at 870-540-6345 for vendor food truck information. Again, the number is 870. I'm going to pin it, 870-540-6345. And last year's event attendance, there was 1,000. I can believe that 1,000 people. Like, it's beautiful. It is amazing. This is seriously like, and again, I keep stressing this because it's the truth, and this is because this is my hometown where I'm from. This is not a Jefferson County sponsored Pine Bluff Go For It. This is not an event of a community. It is for the community, but it is done by Mr. and Mrs. Burrows. So I need you guys to understand the importance of, and this is at their residence, and it is huge. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It is a totally different atmosphere, community. It's amazing. It truly is. If you've not experienced it, make sure you get a ticket to experience it for yourself.
I'll say this. I've been putting on events for 32 years. This by far is one of the nicest outside events that I've been to in a while.
Absolutely. You couldn't ask for anything better.
I promise you will enjoy yourself. The money that they charge to get in this, it should be so much more. It is a really good event. I think they've got Spud, who's performing out of Houston. I can't remember who else is performing, but they've got vendors, food trucks. I mean, they've got people that sell barbecue, people that sell fish. They have a kiddie. You bring your children. I mean, you don't have to leave your kids at home. They have a kiddie jump zone.
Now, don't let your kids get on the stage and all that stuff like over there. I remember that. They have a kiddie jump zone, and then afterwards they have fireworks. I mean, it is top notch. So it is. It's amazing.
Summer Breeze 2022. Shanetta's gonna pin all of the information.
I am.
Where you can get your tickets at. Where if you're a sponsor, where you go. Oh, Diddy Jones is performing. Where you go to get vendor spaces. Just holler at us. Chanel will make sure she pins.
I'm gonna pin it, right? And if I can't pin it, you guys reach out to myself or Brian. We'll give you her contact information. And once the flyer is remitted, I'll get the flyer and post it and share it all to you, so you have all the information needed.
All right, next week we're going to. Can I go ahead and tell them what we're going to talk about next week?
Yes, so we can.
Next week, Shanetta has been really wanting to do this for a long time. I've had at least 7 or 8 people say that we should talk about this. So next week, we're going to talk about domestic violence, right? Domestic violence is really real amongst our people. We're going to give out some information. We're going to give out a domestic violence tip line. We're going to talk about being abused physically, mentally, emotionally. We're going to talk about it all next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. If you want to be tagged on our live, I guess we got to start tagging Miss Dovey. Inbox Shanetta and let her know that you want to be tagged so that our Facebook, our podcast can scream over your Facebook page. Inbox Shanetta or myself and let her know that you want to be tagged on there. Domestic violence is next week. And if you are a female that want to come on Ladies Night with Shanetta, inbox her now. Homies, if you want to hang out with me the week afterwards, inbox myself. And then the last week, we will have the reunion. I think that's a wrap, right?
That's a wrap. We're out of here, guys. Thank you so much for taking the evening to join us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Please hit the notification button and subscribe to our YouTube page. And Miss Dovey has just pinned it, the Summer Breeze link. She has it there. We'll leave it up. Although we're going to take the live down, but Shanetta will copy and paste and pin that, okay? And then the other thing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go and search anywhere that you can find podcasts and search for Love Wins by the Stewart. That's a wrap. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Bye.
Peace
Thanks,
out.
guys.
Bye.
To end.